Hello and welcome. Today I will show you something more about Cities in Motion. Cities in Motion is a Paradox game which had discounts last month and I bought the collection. So what's this game about? In this game you get the possibility of building in several cities. The main game has a limited amount of cities which can be multiplied by buying DLC. I will show you some more in a sandbox game in Leipzig. So you can choose the starting year. Let's start in 1960 and you can see the minimap what the city looks like. First we choose our company logo or company name. So let's pick Herman Trans. You can choose a logo. This looks fine by me. And then we start. So every city has been built by Paradox for a number of years. So what do I mean by this? If you start the game in 1940, 1950, 1990, the city will look different and feel different. The city will have different vehicles and you will be able to buy different vehicles. So let's begin. As you will notice, my laptop isn't the best one and my frame rate will drop below 20 FPS if there's a fire in the city. So I apologize. Normally it won't be that disturbing, but I'm warning you already. So this is the city. You can see some main roads. Let's zoom out. What's it about? You have homes, you have working places, you have transport. People will try to go from one place to another. Let's say they will try to go from this ministry building to the railroad. Then if you have, let's say, a tram line going from A to B, the passenger will take your transport. So you have to make transportation system as good as possible so every area in the city is connected. What's difficult about this? Firstly, it costs a whole lot of money. Secondly, if you build a massive transportation system, the city gets clogged up. So it's important you have to think about where to place your bus lines, your tram lines, your metro system, and if you have done this successfully, you will see the flow of the traffic going very smoothly. So let's first look what different transportation systems we have. Let's pause the game. You have the buses. At this point I have possibility to choose one out of these three buses. So the Jubilee Carrier, Pavlov Extended and Sternberger Urban. So if you build a transportation system, you can choose how many buses you want to drive on the system and which buses you want to drive on that system. Next to buses you have the railway, trams. You can see I have the possibility of choosing 4 different ones. Every vehicle has different abilities, so it's the same for buses, railway, metro, boats. Like this one has a capacity of 10 passengers, it's very attractive, 80%, and it consumes 13 electricity units. The likelihood of breakdown is 10%. This means the transportation unit tram has a possibility of 10% to break down. And it has a speed of 65 I don't know if it's kilometers, miles, possibly kilometers, but it seems a little fast for a tram in the city, but 65 units. So we go on to the metro system. The metro system is the most expensive system, but the capacity of passengers is the highest. So you won't see this in the beginning of a game. I have chosen an easy game, so I get a lot of money, and it's possible to set up a small metro system, but normally you start with bus lines and tram lines. Some cities you have the possibility of setting up boats. We have a river on the city, but it's better for buses and trams. So we will only be seeing buses and trams in these series. So let us begin. First we choose where we want our first transportation system to begin. What we have to think about is we need money. So if we need money, we need as much passengers as possible. So we have the railway terminal, which of course attracts a lot of passengers. We have the ministry building, which has a lot of working places. And they are both next to a main road going across the center of the city. So I suggest we build a metro system, a tram system, from the railroad over here up to the river, or maybe even across the river. In this fashion, passengers will be able to go from west to east and back across the city. If we finish this line, we will build the next line from north to south. This will make it possible to have a very simple and easy system which won't clog everything up and make it possible to get as much passengers from A to B. So let us first start with this east to west transportation system. I'm going to choose for a tramway because, as you can see, there are green areas between the two roads. So if I choose buses, they will go by the road and it can clog up. If I choose tramways, you can see the tracks go between the roads, so they will go faster and have less influence of the traffic. So let's first build the tracks. You can see the tramways are also quite expensive, but they consume less, are easier to maintain. Mostly I build tramways in areas which aren't plugged up with traffic, and for other places I choose the bus lines. So we're already at the river, but I suggest we cross the river with our tracks and we make a turn over here. Maybe something like this, yes. So what I've done here is I made a small circle of tracks so the trams can circle around and follow the track back. So let's do the same on the other side at the railway station. So here we also have to make a circle movement with our tracks. So let's do this as easy as possible without interfering with traffic. So you have to think about your future lines. If I'm going to put some tram rails on this road and turn here, and in the future I'm going to build a bus line also here, then it's going to clog up. So I'm going to make some rails and let them go in this small park. As you can see, this fashion I have avoided interfering with these important crossing roads. As soon as you have finished the first railway lines, you have to place some tram stops. You can choose between a normal sign or a stop with a shelter. The normal sign is less costly to maintain and also costs less to place, but the expensive stop with the shelter keeps your passengers happy when they have to wait. So you have to place them where you know there will be a lot of people and they will have to wait a long time. I suggest you do this not in the beginning of the game, but later on when you notice some stops gather more people than others. So where to place the stop? You see the green and the red buildings and the white circle. So what does this mean? Every stop has an area of influence where it can gather its passengers from. The green buildings have an easy way of going to the stop. Red building, like the railway building, is not connected at its optimum position if I put the stop at this position. So I have to put it closer because it's very important this area is connected. You can destroy your own tracks, sell them, if you think they can be positioned elsewhere. So let's try again. I'm going to place one stop over here, and one next to the railway stop. So it isn't the most optimal position because it stops 2 times in a few meters, but let's do this because I don't know what to do else. Maybe in the future we will change this system, but not now. So as you can see, the area of influence stops at the white line, and I'm going to place the third stop over here. The minimap shows which buildings in the city are connected to the line. So I'm going to build a few stops along the tram line. So you may have noticed I place 2 stops on each way. This is because you possibly know I'm going to have a circling transportation system where every tramway goes from the one side to the other in a circle. You will notice what I mean in the future. So now I've made some stops around our railway line, and we have the possibility of leaving it this way or making a new transportation system. So how do we make a new line? We go into the line panel, to the tramways, and we select create a new line. So we can choose a name, Herman Center. Okay, so this will be line 1, going from east to west. Now we have to add the stops. So first stop, then our second stop. You can see the orange line is where your tram will go. So it's easy to control. Stop 4, stop 5, stop 6, 7, stop 8, stop 9, stop 10, stop 11, and now we close the line. So as you can see, we've made a new tram line going from east to west and connected every stop. The next thing we have to do is manage the vehicles. So we have to choose how many vehicles and which vehicles we put on this line. How many vehicles we don't know offhand, but we will learn as we continue the game. I suggest placing at least 5-6 trams on a long line, because otherwise your passengers will have to wait much too long. First we choose which tram, so mostly I pick one with a lot of capacity and not too much electricity consumption. In this order you can get a lot of money and you will be able to transport a lot of people with less vehicles. So the Pavlov Electrica has the highest capacity of 20 trams and an electricity consumption of 14. This seems reasonable. It costs a lot, it costs $1,000, so we can buy a maximum of 9. Suggest we buy 7. So okay, as you can see, every tram has a few indicators. The first is usage, which will show how much passengers are on the tram. As you can see at the moment, they all have 0 passengers because the tram line isn't started yet. The second indicator is the condition. We can choose how much money we spend to repair our tramways. Mostly I put it at 50%, which means by time my trams will degrade by condition, and in a few years I will have to change all of these trams with new ones. So why don't I put 100%? Because it costs too much. I will show you. You can put vehicle maintenance, it's already at 50%, you can put it at 100%. Now it's $221. If I put it at 100%, it's at $370. It's too much and we will get bankrupt very soon, so it stays at 50%. If you have a lot of money, you can turn it up in the future, but at the moment let's stay at 50%. This is the ticket price for the tram. At the moment is $4.20, but let's change it to $4.60, so we get a lot of money as fast as possible. Now we have our line, we have our vehicles, which shows our price. The last thing we have to do before we start is unpause the game, And now start the line. As you can see, the game automatically places the trams along the railway. Every stop has an indicator indicating which line it uses, how many passengers are waiting, and how happy passengers are. As soon as the tram crosses this stopping area, passengers will get on, and you will notice this tram, the number 1, the number 0, going to 1 or 2, depending on how many passengers are going onto the tramway. So let's speed up and show how this goes. As you can see, this tram has 1 passenger, and this stop has 1 passenger waiting. You can see the passenger waiting. Now, mostly I leave this orange marker on, but if you don't like it, you can always turn it off. So it's much nicer to watch and easier to spot your passengers. So every passenger has a different classification. You have pensioners, tourists, businessmen, and so on. Every passenger has its own set of abilities, wants to go to different areas, has different budgets, so you have to think about every aspect of the city. So this stop has 3 passengers. And now the second thing you do after your line is finished is you wait and you see how your line is doing. If you see it gets clogged up, too many people are waiting, then you place more trams on the line or you change your line. If your line is optimized, wait until you have enough cash to buy a new line, new bus line, and so on and so on. You can check how you're doing on the company graphs. So at the moment it's not yet updated, but soon you'll see how we are doing. So our company value is already much higher. So you can see the passengers are now going to board the tram. Every time they board the tram, I will get some more money. So, okay, this seems a nice time to stop the first episode. Next time we are going to build a bus line going from north to south. See how traffic goes when they cross this tramway, and hope that we still have some money to continue and don't go bankrupt. So thanks for watching, and until next time, Wiedersehen.